Welcome one and all to Expo Jamaica Virtual B2B Meetings 2021, celebrated this year under the theme, A Vision of the Future. Kindly welcome to the stage Catherine Silveira.
Good afternoon and welcome to our webinar on Madrid Protocols, brought to you by our gold sponsor, the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. This afternoon, our webinar will be conducted by Dr. Marcus Goffe. He is the Deputy Director, Legal Counsel of the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office, JIPO. Dr. Goffe is an attorney at law with over 20 years of experience in several areas, including intellectual property law, entertainment law, media law, and human rights law. He holds a Bachelor of Law degree from the University of the West Indies, a Master of Laws degree in Intellectual Property Law, and a Doctor of Philosophy degree in Law from Queen Mary, University of London. Dr. Goffe's PhD focused on the protection of traditional knowledge and traditional cultural expressions in the Caribbean. Please feel free to ask any questions throughout the seminar in the online chat, as Dr. Goffe will be able to answer. I now welcome Dr. Goffe.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Marcus Goffe, Deputy Director Legal Counsel at JIPO, and I'd like to thank the JMEA for inviting us to present here this morning. I'm going to speak about the international registration of trademarks under the Madrid Protocol, a topic I know is very dear to the JMEA members. So first, we're going to talk about JIPO, what we do at JIPO and who we are. Then I'll talk about what IP is and IP rights are. A bit about trademarks and how they function. Then we'll discuss the International Trademark Registration System and the Madrid Protocol and procedures. And then a bit about how to register your trademark at JIPO to be able to access the international framework. So first, a bit about JIPO. JIPO, we are the government agency responsible for administering the intellectual property laws of the country. Therefore, we handle the laws concerning trademarks, designs, patents, geographical indications, and copyright as well. We do IP registration for persons who want to register their IP rights and have proof of registration and ownership. We do a fair amount of public education as well, to inform persons of the importance of IP rights protection. We work quite a bit with different interest groups, whether from music, science, arts, culture, etc. And primarily, we are involved in the development of policy and laws concerning intellectual property. Now, when we talk about intellectual property, IP rights, what are we really talking about? Well, what we mean are really the legal rights which result from some intellectual activity in the scientific, industrial, literary, artistic, or dramatic fields. So whichever area there may be some element of creativity and ingenuity and innovation, there generally is going to be some area of IP right protection for you. IP rights, therefore, are the exclusive rights which you as the IP owner have in your property, in your original creations and expressions of innovation. You as the IP rights owner, as the IP owner, have the exclusive rights to be able to commercialize and protect and to essentially monetize the IP rights that are yours. You have the right as the owner also to compensation if persons use your IP rights without your permission. You have the right to compensation for infringement of those rights. Right? So really it's a set of legal tools which enable you to protect legally your creativity, your innovations through the protection of the legal system here in Jamaica. The IP rights, therefore, are what give you the entitlement to prove ownership, whether it be of songs, of trademarks, which are brands, or of other kinds of IP rights that you have come up with, which are uniquely yours. You have the right to, therefore, have the enforcement through the court system, to enforce your rights through the police as well. You have the rights, therefore, to be able to invest in innovation, knowing that you are exclusively able to reap the rewards of same. Right? So it's a very important area for persons who are in business, who are in trade, who are creating new products and services, who have new ideas that you want to share, that you have them legally protected against unlawful use. So we talk about IP rights, we can think of different categories of IP rights. We can think of trademarks, which we talk about more today, copyright, which covers the creative side, songs, music, film, etc. We can think of designs of particular products and their shape, etc. We have patents for inventions, which are more on the scientific side of creativity. And we have geographical indications covering unique products, which are agricultural based, which have some link to the geographical origin that they're coming from. So it's a family of IP rights which are all seeking to do the same thing, to give you the legal protection for what is essentially your creation. But we're here today to talk about trademarks, and so we're going to focus a bit more in detail on trademarks now. So for trademarks, trademarks are distinctive signs or symbols which have the purpose of distinguishing your goods, your products, and your services from others in the marketplace. It's your unique symbol or name, identifier, your logo, the color of your packaging, etc., which makes the consumer be able to distinguish what is being produced and offered to the public by you, contrasted to your competitors in the marketplace. And so it's very important. People get to love particular trademarks. They think it's attractive. They have brand loyalty to certain trademarks. And so trademarks are an essential part of any functioning business in the world today. How they work is that by virtue of you applying a unique symbol, a logo, and you can think of many that are well known out of Jamaica. We have the JMEA logo, of course, behind me and others behind me, which represent, therefore, the goodwill in that brand that is offering products and services that people can then be assured of a certain quality, certain reputation, etc. And so they're important, again, for international trade, for local trade. They're an essential part of your brand identity. For trademark registration, you can register at JIPO nationally, or to go overseas, you can go directly to the countries you want to go overseas to and register your trademarks. Or under the Madrid Protocol, you can choose to register your trademarks through the protocol and choose several countries of your choice through one procedure. That makes it easier for you to be able to go to the world with your trademarks, with your brands. So the Madrid Protocol is a treaty by the World IP Organization, WIPO, which really facilitates multiple trademark registration in several countries through one process, through WIPO, which then gives you global reach on an easier basis than having to go to each country yourself and pay and go through each country's national procedures. So through one procedure, through WIPO, you get the access to several countries. You get to file your trademark application in those countries and to be able to manage it in a central way, and therefore make it easier for you to have an international trademark portfolio and such. Right? This is important, of course, for persons who want to be able to have global reach, to reach foreign markets, to be able to have legal protection of those brands in those foreign markets. Right? It's therefore procedurally easier and cheaper than having to go to each country yourself to have those trademarks registered in those territories. So what is the Madrid system? The Madrid system really then is a centralized filing and management system managed by WIPO, which has a certain level of convenience for trademark owners. You can, through one application form, choose the countries you want to register in. You can file and pay in one language, pay in one fee, and also pay to one person or one location, WIPO, to have the registration done in all these several countries. You therefore save time than having to go to each country separately. You save money, and of course, it's easier for you to manage all of that through WIPO. Now, I must emphasize that it's not that you pay one set fee for all countries of the world, but you pay one set of fees, which of course will vary according to the number of countries that you would like to register. So it's cost-effective. It's able to assure persons an easy access to global markets. And again, it's able to have persons be essentially empowered to manage their trademark and their global footprints through one process. So who may use the system? For the Madrid Protocol, you would have to have some connection to a Madrid Protocol member. And so lucky for you all here in Jamaica, we are just on the verge of acceding to the Madrid Protocol here. We have already had our Trademarks Act amended for the protocol to be enforced. And so we're now awaiting the formal accession to have the protocol here in Jamaica enforced, that will then have Jamaicans be able to, through one procedure, file their trademark registration in several countries. So you must have a real and effective industrial or commercial establishment in Jamaica, or be domiciled or have Jamaican nationality to use Jamaica to go to the world through Madrid. You must have a basic mark or a basic application filed here at JIPO before you can then access Madrid from Jamaica, right? And so you would have to have either something that is already registered at JIPO, or you would file at JIPO first before you go to file under the Madrid Protocol. So how does the system work? Essentially, once you have the eligibility criteria satisfied, you would then be able to make the application, again, based on the Jamaican trademark application or registration. It will then be filed at JIPO, where we would then certify the application as meeting certain criteria and forward it to WIPO in Geneva, who would then do what is called a formal examination of the application to ensure it meets the criteria under the protocol for registration. If so, it will have to be examined first, of course, by each party that you have chosen to select for registration. They will then do their national examination of the trademark, and they will decide whether it will be accepted for registration or not. And then it will come back to WIPO as the central repository, and WIPO will then write back to you to say that, yes, it's registered or not, and in which countries and so forth. And so for us at JIPO, we are very excited about this protocol. We look forward to us being able to help you to use it to be able to have global trademark registrations for more Jamaican MSMEs. We look forward to being able to assist you in the process, and of course, to help you along the way with the several stages. So there are three main stages of the system for you have to bear in mind, right? So stage one is, again, where you file the basic application. Stage two is examine, and stage three is the final feedback, which I'll talk a bit more in each of those stages at present. So stage one. For stage one, you must again have the application or the registration filed through the local IP office, which for us here in Jamaica is, of course, JIPO. You must, again, have a real and effective industrial or commercial establishment in Jamaica, or be domiciled or have a Jamaican nationality to qualify to use it from JIPO or through JIPO, right? Once you have that basic criteria, you can then submit the trademark application under the Madrid Protocol through JIPO. As we will certify and forward it to WIPO. That starts your process right there. For stage two, it will then be examined by WIPO. They will then, again, determine whether it meets certain formalities in terms of just having the formalities in terms of the procedural checks met. It will then be sent to each IP office that you've chosen. They will then do their national examination and then report back to WIPO, and thereafter, WIPO will then certify whether or not it is going to be registered in which countries and so forth that you have chosen. And step three, or stage three, it will be examined by the IP offices, and you'll get a response within 12 or 18 months maximum about the application and whether it meets the criteria for registration. Right? It's valid for 10 years. You can renew it every 10 years thereafter. And again, through WIPO, renew all of the applications in the several countries to one procedural step at WIPO at that stage as well. So for us, we see that it has a lot of benefits for you. We see it can have the ability to have one procedure, again, a fixed time frame in law for you to get a response. You will be able to expand later on to add additional goods and services if you want to thereafter. You have a centralized system to manage that portfolio. And of course, you have the means to get assistance through JIPO to have all of this in place for you. Now, fees, of course, very important. The fees are payable in Swiss francs, and they're payable straight to WIPO, which can be paid online. The basic fee includes 3 classes of goods or services, and that costs 653 Swiss francs for a black or white mark, or 903 Swiss francs for a color trademark. To choose several countries of your choice, you will then have to pay standard fees, which would either be 100 Swiss francs or an individual fee per country, which is what they would each have to choose and declare. There are no local attorney fees for the system, and so that's also an area where there may be savings as well for you, although we do encourage persons to seek the advice of an attorney at law if it is you want to go through the protocol to proceed to multiple countries having a trademark registered for you, right? So it all starts with having a trademark in Jamaica first, and of course for that you would need to follow the Jamaican legal system, the Jamaican trademark law. So first, you have a trademark that is not registered. You do have legal protection for same in Jamaica. However, for the Madrid Protocol, it must be registered in Jamaica to be eligible for the Madrid Protocol registration. And so for us in Jamaica, under the Trademarks Act, you can similarly choose to register a trademark. At JIPO, it's valid for 10 years, and thereafter you can choose to renew it every 10 years for a minimal fee. You have to fill out a form, a TM1 we call it, choose which good classes you want to have the trademark registered in. You have to then have the trademark examined by us at JIPO, and if there's no opposition to it, it will be registered in approximately 8 to 12 months. Thereafter, of course, you can go to Madrid and get the international registration under the Madrid Protocol. At JIPO, the fees are quite affordable. The first fee normally is $7,800 only, plus $2,200 for every additional class. And then for the final fee, it's a final payable of $10,000 for the final fee. And again, that is something that will get you the trademark registered in an 8 to 12 month time frame. So in conclusion then, I want to just say that for us at JIPO, we see this protocol as being very important for all concerned in the sector, certainly for JMA members and others who are trading, whether locally or planning to go overseas, to be able to protect your IP rights, your valuable trademarks and brands in your foreign countries where you intend to offer them to the public. Right? The protocol offers the chance to be able to maximize your global coverage with minimal costs, to have cost savings for multiple jurisdictions. We must say, if you're going to choose to only do it in one country, you may still be able and still may be cost effective to go straight to one country, but for multiple registration of trademarks, you should pursue the Madrid Protocol. That will be able to assist you greatly. For Jamaicans in Jamaica, we want to encourage you to come and get your trademark registered here at JIPO first, of course, as a prerequisite. And to do so, come to us at our offices at 18 Trafalgar Road, Kingston 10. We'll be glad to help you with the process along the way. Of course, to guide you as to what's going to happen with the protocol when it comes into force in a few months' time. Thanks again for having me, JMA. Look forward to seeing you all at JIPO and wish you all the very best for this Expo 2021. Thank you.
Courtesy of the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, you would have just heard about the Madrid Protocol and how it is important to our productive sectors. We thank Dr. Marcus Goffe from JIPO for using his expertise as legal counsel and deputy director to highlight how this policy of worldwide trademark protection benefits our local manufacturers by allowing them to streamline their marketing efforts on the worldwide stage. This brings us closer to our vision of the future. Thank you for tuning in.